To that, I've also lectured to a class on autism that it's taught that the class is basically an SU class, but it's usually held at Javonio every fall, so every year I would lecture that. And every year when I give these lectures, so many students take away a lot from these lectures and apply to them in their everyday lives, and that's what my hope is with you guys, that you'll take away something, you'll learn a lot about myself, and you'll learn some things along the way. And so, let's get myself started. So I want to talk to you guys about the early life and my diagnosis with autism. So on the outside, as you can see, I'm a regular education student, but on the inside, like so many other people, I'm different. I was born on July 15, 1992, in Syracuse, New York. At the age of 2, my parents enrolled me in preschool. As a kid, I would not converse with other children. I was very attached to my flashcards, I was attached to my books, and when kids really wanted my attention, they would steal my backpack, they would grab it, so I would chase them away. And yeah, I'm sure you guys have an understanding of if someone takes your things and you would freak out and stuff like that. That's what happened to me when I was a kid. So the doctor suggested that I should be tested when I was 3.5 years old. And that is when I was diagnosed with autism. So the school I went to was Javonio, and I talked about Javonio when it came to the lectures I've done regarding about my experiences. So I was enrolled in Javonio for early intervention at age 3. Well, at age 3, I was enrolled in Javonio for early intervention, but at age 3, during show and tell, people discovered that I could read. And instead of showing the photos on flashcards, they showed me the words, and I read them all. I knew words, but I would not converse them, other than echolalia. That's a term that is a repetition of words associated with autism. Like as a kid, I would say words, but I would not converse, but I would not form words in a sentence like I do today. Another thing that has been a huge influence on me was reading, and when it comes to closed captioning and scripting. And I have with me a photo album that basically it's kind of like what my mom did was she would type words out on Microsoft Word, and what she did was she would put the photos and the words together and to form like a storybook, which was another way to help me read. And I'm going to go pass it around to you guys during this part of the lecture. So my mom decided that one way to help me converse is through closed captioning and through scripting. On the phone, my mom would script down the conversation. On vacation, my mom, as you can see, would put photos together in chronological order and type out the story in large font and insert it in the photo album. That's the whole storybook idea. So I went to school and I would present the album and read it to the kids like a story until I couldn't tell it without reading it. If there was a subject my mom needed me to understand, she would either write it down for me or get a video that had closed captioning so I can see it, hear it, and learn it. And the videos she would bring are either Barney or Sesame Street, because as a kid, those are the two things I would watch as a kid. So Eileen mentioned about theater, and that was one of the biggest outlets for me as an autistic individual. My start at theater came from reciting lines from movies. My parents knew what I was doing, but unless if someone recognized the movie, they would have no idea what I was talking about. At 4 years old, my family was coming back from Florida, and so we were at the airport, and I picked up the phone on the plane and recited from The Princess Bride, one of the best movies. And if you guys haven't seen the movie, you guys, after this class, have to go to the store and get that movie. Even though it's an evening class. So I would pick up the phone on the plane and recite from The Princess Bride. And the line I recited was, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die."
That's the first sentence he ever said.
My parents fell over laughing. Yeah. Another thing that got me into theater was that I stood up when I was little at Dominic's restaurant. Dominic's restaurant is not far from the SU area. It's basically on Teal Avenue, and it's a very good restaurant. And I stood up when I was little at Dominic's restaurant, and my parents, they begged me to sit down because they were nervous what I was going to announce. And so I announced I would like to make a toast to all the waiters and waitresses who worked so hard to bring you your food today. And the restaurant, they broke out in applause. And that's when my mom enrolled me in Syracuse Children's Theater, where I met Eileen's kids and so many other individuals like myself. And at Syracuse Children's Theater, I was taught to act, to sing, and to dance. I appeared in many musicals and plays such as Phantom of the Opera, Grease, Once on This Island, Aladdin, and The Wiz, and I got in several lead roles. And I also performed in Town of Manlius and FM musicals each year. And this year, I got cast as one of the pirates in Peter Pan, in addition to being Nana, the Darling's dog, in the Town of Manlius production, and it's July 18th through the 20th at 7 o'clock. Yeah, and Peter Pan was also the play I was in with Eileen's son Liam, and he was also Captain Hook, and I also did the play in 2005, and I was one of the pirates, and my brother was one of the Lost Boys. So I'm going to give you guys a little autism education. So you guys, because the whole point of me is to tell you about things about autistics that you may know, but sometimes you may not know. So social situations are difficult for people with autism. It's not that we do not like people. We do. For autistic people, eye contact is very distracting than for typical people. Sometimes we are misinterpreted for being rude, but that's not the intention. Autistic people have specific interests and tend to talk about those interests. For me, it's not easy joining in people's conversations. If you come and talk to me, I can discuss many things with you. I'm very intimidated to walk up to a group of people and join in the conversation. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not so good. Being autistic is like musical chairs. You always feel like the last person standing. It can be lonely. And it's interesting because I put in my notes a smiley, a sad face. I'm always smiling and busy with school functions. Kids don't realize that. It's difficult for me to communicate back to them. Another area of education that I wanted to talk to you guys about autistics is my rocking/flapping. Whenever we're anxious or excited, autistics tend to flap our arms or rock our body.